I have been called both arrogant and elitist in my time, and I hope to earn those titles again with this video. Those of us who compose and perform music are as accustomed to the whims of the muse as we are to the injections of inspiration and the whips of obsession. We know what it's like to sleepwalk through this so-called real world as the sleep-deprived citizens of the realm of creativity. This is one reason I'm happy to disregard the saying, if you can't say anything nice, say nothing at all, when discussing music. There are many artists and bands whose popularity and commercial success one can most accurately explain by pointing to the deliberate lack of creativity and innovation in their songwriting. Beloved bands like Three Doors Down, Kings of Leon, Shannon, and to a lesser extent Terminator have calibrated their music for maximal inoffensiveness and mass appeal with admirable precision. That some of these bands have essentially admitted this in interviews, and in Shannon's case, stated as a fact on their Wikipedia page, is not a defense, but then this video is not an attack. The bands that suck are free to continue sucking. Fans of bands that suck are free to continue supporting the suckage, and I am free to criticize, quite content to be ignored, or have my verbal fire met with a fanbase's ire. But, and you knew as surely as you would, clicking on a Nicki Minaj music video, that there would be a but, I have some suggestions for those who wish to defend their favorite bands from the intellectual onslaughts provided by middle-aged contrarians. Here are two so-called arguments anyone who desires to have an actual discussion should avoid. The first is, that's just your opinion, it's all a matter of taste, man. This cliché is the coup de grace, without the grace, of any art discussion worth having. Admitting one's lack of interest in participating in a discussion is far better than beginning a conversation only to cripple it irrevocably. With this nonsense, the moment one's argumentative tank begins to run low on fuel. Yes, musical taste is a real thing, and someone expressing their opinion is indeed expressing their opinion. The person who shares these truths in an intellectual standoff as if presenting anything more than obviousness and tautology exposes their own hypocrisy. If they believe what they say when they proclaim all art and music is a matter of taste and opinion, then what the hell were they arguing for in the first place? If they secretly believe that their opinion is closer to the truth than mine, then, well, I think you get the picture. There may be no objective standard of quality in music. That is a possibility. However, it is not a certainty, and thus, there is never a good reason to use a thought-ending, discussion-aborting cliché like, that's just your opinion. If the previously dissected argument is the king or queen of terrible arguments, then can you do better is the Pope. Even the most slapdash examination of this piece of verbal frivolity, via reductio ad absurdum, puts on full display the sickening desperation of a person intellectually perverse enough to resort to it. If one ought not to criticize something unless they can do it better themselves, then where does that leave the family and friends of the victims of the Challenger space shuttle disaster? They should, according to this dumb logic, withhold from criticizing NASA, barring their own ability to pull off a manned spaceflight with less death and fewer explosions. Now that we have dispensed with the two most common and childish statements ever used in attempts to lower our argumentative and musical standards, might I suggest listening to some classical composers to recover? I am in the mood for Dvorak's Ninth Symphony, titled From the New World. Alternatively, you could search up Terminator's performance of their drinking song Põhjani, which translates to Bottoms Up, if you want to witness a rock band hit rock bottom. I know what my choice is going to be. And for the record, yes, I can do better, and with a few months of ear training, and maybe completing a songwriting course on Coursera.org, so can you. May the spirit of Mozart guide us from our bedroom studio to the privy and back again. Farewell.